In December 2007, a 17-year-old student named Ayesha Meera was found murdered. She was found in her hostel bathroom near Vijayawada. Her hands and legs were tied. The post-mortem pointed to sexual assault and homicidal violence. The crime shocked Andhra Pradesh. One man was convicted. He spent years in prison. But the High Court later let him free. And now, after a CBI reinvestigation that lasted many years, the case has been closed. No one will be prosecuted for the murder of Ayesha Meera. So how did a case that once resulted in a life sentence end up with no accused at all? To understand that, we need to go back to the beginning. Look at what happened, what went wrong, and why even a reinvestigation could not revive the case. Let me explain. Before we get into the details, here's a quick note. At the News Minute, we've been reporting on the Ayesha Meera case for many years now. Speaking to the family, interviewing Satyam Babu, the man who was once convicted in the case and later acquitted, and tracking every development in the investigation and the courts. Cases like these do not stay in public conversation on their own. They remain visible only when journalists keep asking questions year after year. That kind of reporting takes time, resources, and independence. If you value journalism that stays with difficult stories even after headlines fade, then please consider supporting the News Minute. You can become a subscriber and help us continue doing this work. Now let's get back to 27 December 2007. Ayesha Meera was found dead inside the bathroom of a private women's hostel. This was in Ibrahimpatnam near Vijayawada in what was then the undivided Andhra Pradesh. She had stayed back during the Christmas holidays while many students had gone back home. When she did not respond that morning, fellow students alerted the authorities. When the bathroom door was opened, she was found with her hands and legs tied. The words Prema Chiruta or Love Cheetah were found written on her chest. The brutality of the crime triggered statewide outrage. Student organizations, women's groups, and civil society activists took to the streets. The pressure to solve the case was intense. The police first arrested a man nicknamed Laddu for the crime, and after a clear lack of scientific evidence, they let him go. Then 8 months later, in August 2008, they arrested Pidathala Satyam Babu, a daily wage worker. This was the prosecution's case. Satyam Babu entered the hostel with the aim to assault Ayesha. He got access to the second floor of the hostel. When he saw there were other girls in the adjacent rooms, he went down, brought a chutney pounder from a neighbor's house with the intention to kill anyone who intervenes. He hit Ayesha with the pounder, causing serious head injury. Then he lifted her from the cot, brought her to the veranda, and dragged her into the bathroom, which was at another corner of the same floor. Here, he raped her. He then went back to her room, took her pen, came back to the bathroom, and wrote on her body. He then went to her room again. He collected a photocopy of a non-judicial stamp paper and a pen from her bag. He wrote a letter in Telugu on the back of the stamp paper. In the letter, he addressed the women in the hostel. He requested them to forgive him. He also wrote on the other side of the same paper the words Chiruta, Cheranteja, 143 and love symbols. And he left the place with the chutney pounder. 8 months later, Satyam Babu even took the police to a bush where he hid the chutney pounder. You see how ridiculously the case was built, right? But it does not end there. Initially, the case suggested that there was more than one intruder. It was also claimed that Ayesha's head was banged against a wall, causing the injury. The police fabricated the story about the chutney pounder later. They did this with the intention of introducing a weapon and a new witness. No DNA profiling of Satyam Babu was even conducted. There was no foolproof way to link him to the crime. A Dalit man was picked up, several other cases were filed against him, he was kept in jail for almost a decade, and the lower court sentenced him to life imprisonment. But the High Court strongly criticized the judgment and the prosecution's case. The High Court also noted that Ayesha's parents, Shamshad Begum and Syed Iqbal, had suspicions about Koneru Satish. He was the grandson of a Congress leader. The prosecution failed to investigate that angle completely. According to the parents, a few influential people had access to the hostel, but the police were only looking for a scapegoat. The High Court wanted action against police officers for lapses, but we all know how it is. Cops hardly ever get punished in this country.
ఒకటి అలాగే వేరే వాళ్ళకి ఒక న్యాయం ఉంటుందండి. ఇక్కడ న్యాయం అనేది ఆల్ ఆర్ ఈక్వల్ బిఫోర్ లా అన్నారు. అది కాదు. ఇక్కడ చట్టం దృష్టిలో ధనవంతులు, రాజకీయ నాయకులు, డబ్బున్న వాళ్ళకి మాత్రమే న్యాయం జరుగుతుంది. ఈనాడు మాకు అర్థమైందండి. సామాన్య మానవులకు కానీ మధ్యతరగతి వాళ్ళకి కానీ న్యాయం జరగదు. మా పాప కేసుని తొక్కబట్టి ఈనాడు ఎంతమంది పాపలు బలి అవుతున్నారో ఒకసారి చూడండి. ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి పోలీస్ అధికారులందరూ కూడా వాళ్ళ పేర్లు కూడా నేను చెప్తా వినండి. సిపి ఆనంద్, సిఐ మురళి, ఎస్ఐ శ్రీనివాస్, అలాగే తాహిరా బేగం, అలాగే ఎన్టీఆర్, అలాగే ఆంజనేయులు, రంగనాథ్, అలాగే హనుమంతరావు ఈనాడు లిక్కర్ కేసులో అరెస్ట్ కాబడ్డాడు. వీళ్ళందరూ మా పాప కేసును తొక్కిపెట్టేశారు.
In 2017, Satyam Babu was released from prison.
నా పేరు సత్యం బాబు అండి. హైకోర్టు నన్ను నిర్దోషిగా రిలీజ్ చేసి 10 నెలలు అవుతుంది. తర్వాత అయేషా తల్లిదండ్రి హైకోర్టులో పిటిషన్ వేసిన తర్వాత నిన్న ఈ కేసు మళ్ళీ పునర్విచారణ చేయమని చెప్పేసి నిన్న జడ్జిమెంట్ ఇచ్చారు. అయితే ఇది కోర్టు పరిధిలోనే ఇది దర్యాప్తు జరగాలని చెప్పేసి కోర్టు జడ్జిమెంట్ ఇచ్చారు. నేను చాలా సంతోషిస్తున్నాను. అయేషా తల్లిదండ్రులు కూడా, నా తరపున వాదించిన లాయర్లు కూడా అందరూ కూడా సంతోషిస్తున్నారు. ఏంటంటే ఇది ఒకటి తొలిమెట్టు అన్నమాట. ఇది ఎందుకంటే ఇది వాళ్ళకి రేపు రాబోయే రోజుల్లో వాళ్ళు మొదటి నుంచి అయేషా తల్లిదండ్రులు ఏదైతే కోరుకుంటున్నారో అది జరగబోవటానికి తొలిమెట్టు.
Just like Satyam Babu, Ayesha's parents too believe they can finally get justice. In 2018, the case was transferred to the CBI. In 2019, CBI exhumed Ayesha's body. A second post-mortem was conducted more than a decade after the burial. But reinvestigations after long delays face structural limitations. Physical evidence degrades, memories fade, scene reconstruction becomes very difficult. Gaps in the original investigation cannot always be repaired. Over the next several years, the CBI examined multiple angles. It reviewed hostel records, questioned former staff and students, and revisited earlier suspects. There was no breakthrough. In 2025, the agency filed a closure report. It stated that it had not found any evidence to prosecute anyone in connection with the crime. In Feb 2026, the special court accepted that report. Legally, that acceptance closes the case for now. The CBI handed over Ayesha's remains to her parents. She was buried yet again in Tenali nearly 2 decades after her death. Ayesha's parents are obviously very unhappy about CBI's closure report. Shamshad Begum says they still believe important aspects of the case had not been investigated adequately. She had rightly asked why her daughter's body was exhumed. The exhumation subjected the family to years of renewed proceedings. In the end, the conclusion was that no one could be prosecuted. Shamshad Begum says her daughter's case is also an example of how minority families often struggle for justice. So what went wrong? The initial investigation was shoddy, and I'd go to the extent of calling it criminal, because the police planted witnesses. By the time the CBI took over, more than a decade had passed. Even with improved forensic tools, lost or degraded evidence cannot always be reconstructed. Then, once Satyam Babu was acquitted, the legal threshold became even more demanding. To prosecute someone else, investigators would need credible, fresh, admissible material. The case also highlights broader systemic issues in handling sexual assault and murder investigations. In 2007, forensic infrastructure in many Indian states were less robust than it is today. DNA profiling, chain of custody protocols, and evidence preservation have improved over time. And we can only hope that police are now dealing with cases more efficiently. The Ayesha Meera case also demonstrates the limits of reinvestigation. Even a central agency with greater resources cannot always overcome early evidentiary gaps. 19 years after a teenager was found murdered in a hostel bathroom, the file was closed. The crime is not erased, but in the eyes of the law, there is no one left to prosecute. No one killed Ayesha Meera. Before we go, here's a quick reminder for you to read our latest paywall story written by Janvi on Pidathala, the life, death and political afterlife of a Telugu Christian apologist, a preacher who died on a highway a few months ago, and the police call it a drunk driving accident while his supporters call it a hate crime.